Good morning. I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. So yeah, I'm Wim from XQTING, right? And today we are going to present you some stuff about EasyConnect. So XQTING, a little bit about our company. We're basically focusing on two things. That means we make smart software, which is basically customized software for people, and we do intelligence integrations. So that means that we typically connect 2 or 3 parties together with a piece of intelligence software. Okay. We also developed in the meantime 3 applications that we distribute. One is the Teams phone, one is the XQTING integration engine, which is a kind of a low-code engine, and the third one that we distribute now, and the one that we are going to talk about today, is the EasyConnect application in innovaphone. So the title of this webinar is a little bit long. It says quick and seamless integration of the innovaphone PBX. So the best thing I can do to explain you what EasyConnect does is explain you why you should use EasyConnect. Okay, and today, if you look at innovaphone version 13 and you look at the applications that are provided and the SDKs that are provided, they are all about how to build applications in the innovaphone platform and in the innovaphone app store. But there is a different use case that is also very valid, and that is, what if you have an existing system and you want to integrate that system with your innovaphone PBX? So, and I start from a very simple example. Okay, you have, or your customers have, most likely some kind of CRM system, kind of business system that they use next to the PBX. And they have a very simple question for you. If somebody is called from my employees, I would like in my CRM system to have a record of the call, when the call was made, who answered the call, and whether it was answered at all, or maybe you have a missed call and you want to register this in your CRM system so that later on you can call people back. Okay, so this is a very simple example, and we get a lot of questions for that. And how do you implement this in innovaphone? So standard innovaphone, and in version 13 you have a number of options. So you can make a V13 app, which requires you to develop in C++ or JavaScript. You can use the WebSockets API directly and use JSON messages. You can implement the somewhat older SOAP protocol that was available. You could process the CDR records and make some kind of software that process this information and puts it in your CM record. You could use the HTTP XML SDK, which is also available. So there are a number of things that you can do, but there are 2 things that you need if you want to use these standard APIs from innovaphone, and that is software engineers that are experienced with these languages. Okay, and they need to have some knowledge about different languages and environments, and you need to know about the innovaphone call model. Okay, and if you have those, it's fine, and then you can do anything with these APIs. But not all of us have these the resources available. So what does EasyConnect make your life easy, or how do we make your life easier? We developed a simple API. It's a REST API, which is well known for a lot of tools and in a lot of environments. It's very universal and very known today. And we made the data model very simple. So instead of knowing the whole call model of a complete call, which goes through a lot of stages in innovaphone, you only need to know some simple events that you can work with. Okay, and this makes it a lot easier to implement external applications. The best way to show is going back to our example. So how do you integrate with EasyConnect any external system in a low-code environment? Okay, so there are 3 steps. The first step is you open the EasyConnect app, and it's not a fancy interface. The only thing you have to provide is a URL which points to your low-code environment. And in any typical low-code environment, you can get this kind of URL that triggers a workflow. Okay, so you just copy and paste this URL that triggers your workflow in EasyConnect, you save it, and then you will get notifications about incoming calls. Okay, the second step is you watch the events that come in. Okay, they are documented in our guides, and the information that we provide, like I said, is we give you an easy call model. So if you want to know whether a call completed and whether it was connected to a person or not in your company, you do not have to monitor the whole call. Okay, so you can ignore all the events, and we bundled all the information in the last event that you will get for this call, which is the disconnected event. Okay, so you do not have to worry in your integration whether the call was connected to a user and when it was connected to a user. No, in the disconnected event, we provide you with all the information, and we can tell you it's a connected call or it was not connected. And if it was connected, we tell you how long did the call take, and when did the call start, and who was connected to the call, and what was his extension, but also what was his name, because this can be useful information. Okay, so in this simple example where I want to store call information about the call that was made in my CRM system, I have to watch for one event only. This event is called the disconnected event, and then I can store all my information in my CRM system. How do I do it in a low-code environment? I made two examples for you. Okay, one is Microsoft Power Apps. Everybody who has Microsoft Office 365 has Microsoft Power Apps, basically. Okay, even though it will be a lightweight version, but you have this available. Okay, second example that I made was in Zapier. Zapier is a cloud platform which allows you to make lightweight workflows, and you can do anything with that to any other application. Maybe you know them, maybe you have other applications that you use, low-code environments. There are many others. There are if this, then that. There is Node-RED, which is basically also a little bit of an open source solution, and there are many others, Mendix, MuleSoft, I don't know, many applications exist. So what do you have to do in the call flow, in this process? You have to do only a couple of things. First of all, you will get a notification that says, when an HTTP request is received, I will check if it's a disconnected event, because I told you this is the only thing you have to monitor. And if this is the disconnected event, I will add a new row in my CRM system. And optionally, I will send an email notification to somebody. For example, if I would have a missed call, I can send an email notification. That's all. That's how you integrate innovaphone with EasyConnect into your CRM system. The same thing is done if you go for another application like Zapier. You have a webhook that you catch. You only continue if the event is disconnected. And for example, in this scenario, I used the CRM system that we saw at one of our customers. It's a HubSpot, right? It's not really a CRM system, more of a commercial system, but it doesn't really matter. And if the customer calls in, I create an engagement for this customer. Okay. Zapier supports HubSpot out of the box, and you can do basically anything in HubSpot if you use Zapier. Okay. What is important is that, I don't know whether you noticed it, but I wrote 0 lines of code. So I integrated the CRM with innovaphone, and I didn't have to write a single line of code. This means you don't need very experienced developers for this in all of these languages, and you don't need to understand the innovaphone call model. No, you can do this yourself. And we see today that more and more users use low-code environments. Even business people start using this. Microsoft Power Apps is available for business people. Okay, you don't have to be a developer. You can do this yourself, and you can thus integrate very easily your system into your low-code environment, and from there on, you can go to any other application in your company. Okay, so this is for the technical people who have more a need for protocols. We use a standard REST API where you can do a lot of commands, the put, post, delete commands, where you post JSON data or you get JSON data. And in the reverse direction, we generate webhooks, which are basically the HTTP calls that you get and that inform you of some changes. Okay. What are the functions that are exposed by EasyConnect? Well, we have basically 3 main blocks that we support. With EasyConnect, you can basically do anything that administration API from innovaphone can do. So that means any object in your PBX can be fetched, can be updated or deleted. Okay. So an integration with the administration REST API is, for example, synchronize users with Active Directory. That would be a simple integration that's possible because you can create, update, and delete objects in your PBX based on the information that you find in Active Directory. Okay. We have call control, which means in combination with the webhooks is that we can notify you of calls, and I will give you an example later on of a real life implementation that we did for our customers. So that means we can monitor people. You will get notified with HTTP that there are certain call control events happening, and you can also send commands to these calls. So you can accept, pick up, transfer calls that you have a monitoring on, okay? So this means that from your external applications, you can easily pick up calls, hang up calls, make calls, transfer calls, and everything, only by this REST API, which is very simple to use, okay? And the call model is also very simple in that case, because we do not need you to have different call handles. We just give you one call ID, and with this one call ID and one command, you can control everything, okay? And another one, which is very interesting that we implemented, but it's only available from 13R3 release, because that's a requirement from innovaphone, is the contacts REST API. So the contacts app has been extended in 13R3, as you probably already know. And this also means that we can implement this as a REST API and make this available to your solution. So that means that if you have this low-code middleware or low-code environment, you can use the REST APIs to synchronize your contacts data, okay, which I think is very useful. So just to illustrate some little things that you can do with this simple EasyConnect integrations is the following customer scenario. Suppose you have a company that has 3 locations and 3 sales teams, and each sales team has a specific waiting queue. And this is a company in Belgium which requested this solution to us, okay? And each of the customers that calls in must be put in the right waiting queue. And the right waiting queue in this scenario is the queue of the salespeople that is closest located to him. Okay, so if you're in the south of Belgium, you need to go to the company or the location in the south of Belgium. If you go in the north, and so on and so on. You get the picture, right? So, but the customer information is available in Navision for this particular company. And Navision is able to tell which customer belongs to which location. So the solution is actually very simpler for this customer. You look up the customer data in Navision when he calls in, then you get the closest location and you put them in the right queue. That's a very simple integration if we explain it like this, but how do you do it in innovaphone and how do you do it with EasyConnect? Well, it's actually quite simple, okay? What we did is we made a new call queue for this customer in innovaphone, and we monitored the call queue via the RCC API notifications in EasyConnect, okay? EasyConnect generates a new HTTP request to our own executing engine, okay? The executing engine is a low-code environment. It very easy configure this webhook, and once we receive this information and we get the customer number, we go to Navision and we make a web call to Navision, and we ask Navision, please give us for this customer the closest location. And based on this location, we also know the number of the queue where he needs to go to, okay? Once we get the information from Navision, we then transfer the call with the RCC API that is available in EasyConnect, which is a basic REST call, and we transfer the call to the right waiting queue of the right sales team, okay? If you look at the lines of code and the development time, we wrote 0 lines of code in innovaphone. We wrote 0 lines of code in Dynamics, because Dynamics has web services available that provide this information, or the company can make this available. And we wrote about 20 lines of code in the executing engine. Okay, this is a JavaScript code. Again, whether you use the executing engine or you use another low-code platform, it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest. The number of lines of code is significantly lower, as if you would have to develop a complete solution. Okay. Another example, and this is also something that some of you will recognize, Zoho CRM. And Zoho CRM is a well-known CRM platform used by many people, but it's just an example. It can be any CRM system, okay? And you want the contact information to be available in innovaphone, okay? All your customers are in Zoho. You would like to have the basic contact information into innovaphone, because if people call in, you get at least some pointers and so on and so on. Who's calling? How do you do this? Typically, you would have to do a manual export of the one system and then import it manually into innovaphone, or maybe you type in some information, doesn't really matter. The thing is, it's not automated, and you want to automate this, that, for example, twice a day, you synchronize all the information. This can be very easily achieved by EasyConnect, because in your low-code solution, you typically can implement a schedule. This is just a trigger that happens twice a day. Twice a day, you go get all the customer contact information from Zoho. Typically, this is a very simple REST API call, because all modern CRM applications also have a simple REST API to get this information, okay? Your low-code platform gets this information from the CRM system. It will do some checking on some cache, maybe, like which data has changed, are there new contacts, which contacts are removed. And then you use the simple REST API to EasyConnect to update all of the contact information into your innovaphone system. That's it, nothing more to be done, and you can synchronize all of your contacts very easily. Those were 3 examples. I'm still right on time, so that's a good thing. So these are 3 examples, without going too technical into detail, on how EasyConnect can make your integrations a lot simpler and how you can help your customers a lot easier, okay? And the good thing about it is that the time needed to implement this is very small, and that means that it's also very affordable for smaller customers, okay? Now, thing is, this is of course not for free, and I also want to present you the pricing, okay? So pricing of the EasyConnect app is depending on the number of users in certain scenarios, okay? And is depending on which of the APIs you need. It's possible that you do not need every API that we provide via EasyConnect, and there will be newer APIs added as we grow, okay? So we allow you to focus on the APIs that you need and on the number of users that will be using the application or that will be using EasyConnect. Just to give you a simple example, suppose you have up to 100 users and you only want to do contact synchronization, then you know that you will fall into this kind of price range, okay? There are prices, the recommended retail prices are available, and as a reseller, you have different pricing available as well, okay? So, but this information is actually something you will get if you contact us, and if you contact Jan, who is our administrative guy, he can also give you an explanation about this pricing scheme. So yeah, that's about it in 20 minutes tops. What EasyConnect is and how EasyConnect can help you. I'm not sure whether you have any other questions. I think, Johannes, there is time now for questions. By the way, I didn't mention it in the beginning, but all of these SDKs and APIs that innovaphone allows you to, or gives you to make applications, we can also help you with making other applications, and maybe some of you already know that, but we also helped K-Business.com and SNOM developing their apps. So we have also experience in writing full-blown innovaphone apps on version 13.